Hello students, welcome to the class of VB.NET. In today's session, we are going to start how do we develop Windows Form based application, that is GUI based application in VB.NET. So as we know, VB.NET is a framework which gives facility of developing Windows based application, desktop based applications, mobile based applications, web based applications and many more. It has different components. So Windows Form can be developed using VB.NET framework, and when we develop Windows Form, it is termed as graphical user interface. So we will discuss how do we develop an GUI application in VB.NET. Let's start with a session on GUI application. So to open or to develop GUI based application, we have to open Visual Studio. Inside that we have to select the template, that on what language we are going to develop the application, and then we have to use different applications. So let's start. I'm going to open the editor of Visual Studio. Visual Studio, just click on it. It is getting open. Just wait, let it be open. Here we have the Visual Studio. From the file, you can also start from here. There are two options, either you can start with a new project or you can go with the file option. So I am going with file menu, new project, click on that. Inside template, select Visual Basic and Windows. Inside Windows, there are different applications. I am going to use Windows Form application for GUI. Here, Windows Form application and WPF applications both works for the GUI application, and I am going to use Windows Form applications. Once you click on the Windows application, your project is created, and then a form will appear on the screen, that is the container. See, this is the form. By default, it's a form 1. Let it be open properly. Now it is open. Here, there is a toolbox. Suppose I have closed the section of toolbox. How do we again appear our toolbox here? So just go to the view option. Click on the view option and then you can click on the toolbox, or you can also use the shortcut key Ctrl plus Alt plus X. So as I have clicked on toolbox, it appears. There are different tools in the toolbox. We can drag and drop these tools on the form to make our GUI based form. Except this toolbox window, there is a data source window. Data source window provides a facility to add databases in your project. Currently, I haven't added any project, so there is no any list of the data source. If you want, you can create from here, add new data source. We will study it further. Then, for each and every control, there is a property which is reflected in the property window. As there is only one form and it is selected, so the properties of form is listed here. There are different properties. Some are the common properties for each and every control, and some are specific properties for each and every control. The common properties of each and every control are back color, background image layout, font, cursor, 4 color, form border, name, caption. So these are the different by default properties which are very common properties, and we will discuss properties of each and every control one by one. So this is the property window, and here a window appears is called Solution Explorer. Inside Solution Explorer, there is a list of all the forms or modules added in your application. Here only one form is there, so there is only one form listed. If you want to add many forms, you can just right click on this from here. You can add as many as forms, components, modules to this application. Suppose I am going to add one new form. So here Windows form I am going to add. As I have added the second form, the form 2 is listed here. So this is the solution window. So whenever our editor of Visual Studio is open, then there are different windows. This is the main window, that is which contains the form. How many forms are open? All the forms are listed here, and this is the design view of each and every form. By default, the form is open in the design view. Once you want to write the code, you will open the code window. Here is the toolbox, here is the data source window, there is a property window, and here is a solution explorer. And whenever we click on the form, the code window of the form will get appears. See, this is the code window. So always remember that the code window has the extension .vb, and if it is not saved, the asterisk will appear, and if you have saved this, the asterisk has been disappeared. So whenever you make any changes, and if you want to see that whether the code you have written is saved or not, just look on the name. If there is an asterisk sign or star mark, it means it is not saved, and if there is no any star mark, it means it is saved. And the difference between design window and the code window of a form is that a code window only contains a .vb extension, whereas a design window or design view of the form contains design underscore bracket. So this is the main difference of naming convention of design view and code view of your form. So now we will see some basic properties of form, then we will discuss about different tools available on the form. Form 1, it's a default name. If you want to change your name, if you want to change the name of the form, just click on the name window, name property of the form that is listed here, name. Suppose I am going to write the name FRM demo. So now the form names has been changed with FRM demo. But when it will be appeared, it will be appeared here whenever you will click here. And if you want to change the text of this form, then go to the text property of the form. Here is the text. Suppose I am going to rename it with form demonstration. So once you have changed the text has been changed here. There is another property is icon. If you want to give some specific icon to your form, then you can choose the icon property here. Just see where is the icon property. Here is the icon property. From here you can add your icons if you want. If you want, you can use .ico files for icon. Here there is no any file, so I am not going to change it. I am just using the default icon of this. The next is, if you want to remove minimum button, maximum button and cross button, you can do it as your choice. Just put max minimize to false. As you have set the max minimize false, and also if you want to change the cancel button. You can create your own cancel button from the cancel button. If you want to appear help button on the form, you can set it to true. And also I am going to change the minimum property. Let me check where it is. Appearance, back color, background cursor, font, 4-color font, border style, right to left, text. Here is a minimize box. You can also set it to false. So let's see. Once you have select the maximize box false and minimize box for false, the button of minimization and maximization has been disappeared. Also, you have selected the show help, that is help button to true. Help button gets highlighted here, but if you want, you can set it to false. As you have set the false, it is disappeared. And if you want to hide this button also, then you can choose the property cancel button. Cancel button too. It is by default selected run. Let me check where it is. Strip, maximize opacity, padding, show icon. If you want to set it to false, the icon will not appear. So this is how we can change the different properties. Let's execute the form. As the form doesn't contain anything, so your form will appear like this. This is a form. And from here you can close the form or close the application. So this is the simple form which has text property form demonstration with name FRM demo, and I have set the property maximize button and minimize button to false. If you want, you can set it to true. Now I am going to change the background of the form. So just click on the background, back color. If you want to add image for the background, you can choose you have to first import your image and you have to select it. Or suppose I want to import images. There is no any images here. As there is no any image, okay, let us download an background image. There is no any image. Okay, just download an image. Suppose I have downloaded an image. Now here I have downloaded the image. Now you can use this image as a background on your form. See, this is how your image will appear as a background on the form. And from here you can set the background image layout. By default it is style. If you want you can put it to center. If you want you can stretch it, and if you want you can set it to zoom. So this is how you can set the background image with different layout. And if you want to set the back color, you can choose the background color. Here there are three options: custom, wave and system. Suppose I want a color for this, so you can able to see the background color. You can also use like this. See, this is your background color and this is your background image. If you want to set the image to center, you can also design your web page as per your choice. And if you want to hide your background image, you can set it to none. So this is how we can change the color. Here you can able to see the reflection of the color. So this is how we can design a form with background color and background image. Sometimes if you want you can use both, or if you want you can use only one. So this is how we can define the form background. Now if you want to set the font, you can also set it. So this is we have discussed about form. Now I am going to discuss a very useful control, that is the label box. Suppose I am going to take the label box is a control which is used to display the information or messages or text on the form. Here is the label box. A. There are two types of label. One is single label, that is only for text, and the second one is the linked label. Link label is used to create a link on the form if required, and the label is simply used for providing the text. Suppose I have used the label. Now you can change your text from here. Suppose I am going to give form design demonstration. So here the text of the form gets the text of the label gets appeared, and from this you can set the font also. Font property. Suppose I want bold with 16 size, and I want some another view with underline. Okay, so this is your form will appear here with underline. And if you want to set its background, you can also set it as back color. If you don't want to give any back color, just keep it transparent. And it's always better to use the label with transparent property because it gives a background a good look. And if you want to change the fore color, you should change the fore color of the font by using fore color like this. From here you can choose your color. Suppose I want as black suits more here, but suppose I want to change it with this. So this is how you can change your label color. So basically we use label to give information on the form. So this is how we can define a label. The next property or next tool what we use is text box. There are different text box. I have taken a text box here. Text box, you can resize it as per your choice. Text box has also the property of name. We generally rename our text box as per the requirement, and it's a better to use text box with your convenient name. You can give your own name to the text box so that while coding it is easy to remember for you. The next property of the text box is font. If you want, you can change the font of your text box as per your requirement. If you want to set your text box read only, you can set the property to true. By default, it is false. Read only property gives you facility to add read only view to your text box. Sometimes it may happen that we don't want user to interact with some text boxes. We want to give the default value. So in that case, if you want, you can set it to set the read only property to true. By default, it is false. One of the important property of text box is password char. Whenever you want to hide your text with some specific symbol, you can set the password char. By default, it is blank, but if you want, you can change. You can set your own symbol for that. Suppose if you are designing a confirm password or change password form, then you want a user to type the password. So is it feasible to give the visibility property to the password? No. So in that case, we can set the password char with dot, star, hash, or any symbol whatever you want. Okay. Suppose I am taking one more text box for this property. Here, I am going to take three text boxes. One in which I will take input. Second, in which I will take input for the password char. Here I am going to set the password char with star. And in third, I am going to set the read only property to true. And from here, you can set the text alignment for your text box. Here I have used three text boxes. So I am going to set all the properties for this: left, right, and center. And as this is the read only, you can able to see the color reflection of read only has been changed with these two. And for read only, I am going to just give the text read only. And for this, I am also going to give the text, suppose text demo. Now, just see what are the effect of the text box. Here is the form. Here I have given the default text, but once I want to enter any text, the text box is taking input. And as I have said, the property to left, text align property to left, the text are left aligned. For text box 2, I have set the text align property to right, so you can able to see the cursor is blinking on the rightmost corner. And here I am going to give some value. As I have set the password char to star, so you will able to see that whatever text I am typing, it is not visible on the screen. It is hidden in forms of asterisk. So this is how we can use password care to protect our text for password. And the third one is the read-only property. I am trying to type, but as the read-only property is true, so it is not giving me permission to take input for this text box. So this is how we can use the text box in the form. It is also a very important control, because through text box we take input from the user. The next property of text box is multi-line property, which gives you facility to take input in multiple line. By default it is false. Multi-line, by default it's false, but if you want you can set it to true and see how it will work. Just suppose I am giving some, see, it is taking multi-line, but to take input in the multi-line we have to set some another property also. Set it to a scroll bar. So this is how we can set the text box properties. You can also change the border style of the text box from here. Border style, there are basically three types of border style. By default it is fixed 3D. You can change it to fixed single, or you can change it to none. By default it is 3D. As I have taken 3 text boxes, let's see all the effect of border. Border style, for first I have set it none. For second I am going to set border style fixed single. So let's see. This is none, there is no any border. This is fixed single and this is fixed 3D. So there are 3 types of border we can give to the text boxes in the Windows form. And as it is multi-line property, you can able to see that the scroll bar gets activated and we are able to see the multi-line concept in this text box. If you want, you can and see. If there is no any multi-line, your scroll bar will get deactivated. But once you enter the line, the scroll bar gets activated and you can able to see the multi-line concept here. So this is how the multi-line property works of the text box. The next common control is button. Without button, we can't able to interact with user, because button provides us facility for do some action. So let's discuss about buttons. This is the button. Button property gives you option to perform certain action on this. Button has different properties also. We can set its back color as per our choice. Suppose I want to change it to this. See, the background color of button has been changed. In the same manner, if you want to add background image, you can select from the section and you can set it to image, whatever you want. By default, the button name was button 1, and how many number of buttons you take, the name changes. The next property of button is text. Here, suppose I am going to set it to click me See, the click me but text has appeared on the button. Text aligned, by default it is middle center, but these options are there: middle left, middle right, top left, top center, top right, bottom left, bottom center, bottom right. By default we use middle center. If you want to hide button and show button on particular event, so you can set its visible property to true or false. Whatever you need as per the code you can write. So this is how we can work with the buttons. Suppose here I am going to write the code end. End is a keyword which is used to close your Windows application. So suppose I am going to click, so you can able to see your application has been closed. And if you want, I am just giving here a message box, button demonstration to close the form. And now I am going to execute the code. See, whenever I have clicked on the button, the first code what I have used, message box, gets executed, button demonstration to close the form. Whenever I click on the OK button, the form has been closed. So this is how we can use buttons on our form. So thank you class for watching the session on use of form, label, text box and buttons. In the next video, I am going to share you the idea about how to design a registration form. So let's meet in the next session. Thank you class.